What's up, everybody? This is Dr. Nick with Leverage Media, and I'm here for an exciting special episode, something I've been looking forward to for a long time. My mentor, Mike Arce.
What's up, man? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I appreciate you being on. We are here in Mike's podcast studio. We've got the professional setup today. Usually it's just like me in a hotel room with two of these mics. Yeah. You have evolved so much over the time that I've known you. So just to give a little bit of a backstory. So Mike was I was here. So I'm in Phoenix. This is where his office is at. So I was in Phoenix for Thanksgiving. And my cousin, Chris, had just done his second interview with you on that Thanksgiving. It was 2016. And I was getting ready to launch Leverage. And he was like, oh, I'm interviewing with a marketing agency. Blah, 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 blah. He gets the job. And I check up on him in February after I'd launched it. And I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But I launched it and I checked to see if he got the job. He did. Then I looked at your stuff. And I was like, even back then, your stuff looked good. I mean, now it's a whole different level, but even back then it looked good. And so I reached out to him, and then I saw that you did coaching but you have an agency for fitness studios, and you did coaching for fitness studios. And I was like, I just figured I'd take a chance, and maybe you'll help me out with the agency stuff. And then we start coaching, and now we're friends 3 years later.
It's amazing.
It is.
Yeah, no, it's been cool watching you grow and develop, and the amount of chiropractors you've been able to help has been, I mean, it's cool to see the stories. So you're helping a lot of people. You should be very proud, dude.
Well, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
And a lot of it I know has to do with the coaching and the mentorship that you've given me, and just the example. A lot of the stuff that I learned from you, you don't even know that I learned from you, but I just consume so much of your stuff and watch you. I mean, one of the first times we ever hung out for an extended period of time was at was it a TNC? No, it's some event.
Was it Mark Lax thing?
No. Oh, it was Infusionsoft's thing.
Icon.
Yeah. So we were hanging out for 3 days, and this was before you were Mike Arce in quotes. You were just Mike Arce, and it was all lowercase letters. But you were starting to get better guests onto the GSD show, which is your podcast. And we'd be hanging out there. We'd just be in the middle of a conversation, and you'd see Ryan Dice, and you're like, you were gone. Yeah. You were like, I got to go talk to him. Got to see if he'll be on the GSD show. And you probably lined up 15 interviews of people that were just
Ryan, Brad Martineau, Lisa Nichols from The Secret.
Yeah.
Who else? There were a few people. The funny thing is, I don't know. That was Icon. So at Traffic Conversion. Yeah. Do you know why I started my other podcast, The 𝒌𝒄 Show?
I would assume just to be able to talk to people and hang out.
Yes, but here's what happened. So I was at Traffic Conversion, and I saw Jay Abraham. A lot of you guys, I don't know if you know Jay Abraham, but he's considered by some people the godfather of marketing. He coaches a lot of people like Damon John and some other people. I'd never seen what he looks like before. Yeah. Somebody pointed him out. And I was like, wow, that's Jay Abraham? He's like, yeah. I don't know if you've ever seen him, but he's always dressed up to the nine. He's got suits on, the handkerchiefs coming out.
That year, I remember seeing him because he was speaking that year,
So I go up to him, and he was walking alone. It was perfect. He wasn't busy. He just looked like he was looking for something to do. Yeah. And so I approached him asking if, hey, can I talk with him while we walk in the same direction? He cut me off and gave me one of his cards and said, you have one of my courses? I said, no. He's like, talk to one of my people. And then he walked away. That was it. My first instinct was, what a jerk. Right. But then I was like, all right, how do I own this? And I'm like, okay, either A, I didn't sell him well. I could have pitched that way better. Yeah. Or B, he doesn't know me, and that's my fault. Either way, it's my fault. So obviously studied sales, continued to study more in sales. But then also I was like, all right, I'm going to create a show where people like him with bigger egos would want to be on. What better show than the 𝒌𝒄 Show, where 𝒌𝒄 stands for greatest of all time. Yeah. Started lining up great people like Ryan Dice and Grant Cardone and all these guys.
Russell Brunson,
Ed Milet. Yeah. We had UFC champions on, NBA, not Hall of Famers, but John Starks.
In your mind,
Hall of Famer.
He's in the Mike Arce Hall of Fame for
sure. Yeah, for sure. Anyway, we get to the point where ultimately, the reason I did this was to build up a community. I wanted to get connected to the right people. Yeah. Coaching was 3 C's: community, coaching. Because every episode I asked the questions I actually wanted to know the answer to. They just wouldn't talk to me even in the hallway while walking in my direction. Right. And then the third thing was credibility. Because obviously just seeing somebody with somebody can help you believe that maybe they are somebody to know as well.
Your speaker reels definitely stepped it up in the last couple of years just from that show.
100%.
Yeah.
So we get to the point where I'm like, all right, I've connected myself to the point where I'm like 1 or 2 people removed from anybody I want to meet now. Yep. So let's stop this and refocus on the podcast that's brought us the most business, which is GST show. It's focused on just fitness studios and helping them out.
Yeah.
But I had to do one more podcast before I ended, and it was Jay Abraham. We've had actually one more since because I made a promise, and he called me on that promise later. But the last one was intended to be Jay Abraham. And it was funny. I went to go meet with him, and we did a great interview. And at the end, I was talking to him, and I told him the story of how he dismissed me. He's like, I did that? And I was like, yeah. He's like, man, had I known, I would have not done that. He's like, I'm sorry. That's not your fault. It was my fault. Look, now I've done it. This is what I needed to do. I did it, and now we're here. So
that's great.
And that's the whole idea, right? Have you ever read the book Extreme Ownership? So it's, I could say, oh, he's a jerk, and then it ends there. Yeah. Or I can say, how can I change things? And now not only was he happy to be on the show, but he regretted doing that in the past. Yeah. And now we've got a relationship where I can text him, which is pretty cool. Right?
You are the best that I've ever seen at just creating those relationships, adding value to people. And it's like, I think you told me when we were coaching together or when we first started coaching together that whenever you get coaching, you always try to be their best student.
100%. Yeah.
And you always end up just becoming friends with the people that you get coaching from.
Because you're probably friends with your best coaches or clients.
For sure. That's what we're sitting here now for.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, that's the idea, right? Like if I'm your best student, that means I'm your best testimonial and case study.
Yeah.
That means I'm the most valuable person to your business.
Yeah.
So yeah, you want to be my friend just because of that, and then as long as you're a really good person, you'll probably organically really become friends, not just for the purpose of making money, but because. So yeah, a lot of the coaches like I could text Russell Brunson, I could text Grant Cardone, I could text Billy Jean, I could text all these guys that are Jordan Zimmerman, $4.4 billion ad agency. We go back and forth and text each other questions and ideas.
Yeah.
But that all happened from initially finding a way to get them to sit down with me and actually have a real conversation.
Yeah. So give me because we only have a little bit of time, and I want to cover a couple, because there's a few things that I think you do really well, and so I want to give value to the people that are listening. With coaching and mentorship, what I guess what are your thoughts on it? Like, what makes you choose to get a coach or get a mentor in a certain area?
I spend right now $300,000 a year in coaching.
Yeah.
That's my coaching bill every year. Obviously, several bills, right? I got Cameron Harold, who cost me about a little over $100,000 a year, plus travel and hotel and stuff like that for the CEO Alliance. Russell Brunson's like a good 25 to 30. Grant Cardone's about 8. Digital marketer and the guys there are about 10, right? So there's a lot. The way I look at it is you ever hear that phrase? By the way, I hate most Instagram phrases, like quotes, because they just sound good, but they're real bullshit. Like one of them that's like, by the way, can I curse on here? I just realized I did. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. So like one of the phrases, like if you love what you do, you'll never work another day in your life. I'm pretty sure Kobe loved basketball, and I'm pretty sure he worked.
Yeah.
So that's BS.
Right.
I work.
Yeah.
I love what I do, but I for sure work.
Yeah.
Right. So that's an example of a phrase. But then there's several other things that people say, and so. When you were talking about, hold on, what was the question again?
Like, how do you think about coaching and what makes you decide on?
So one of the quotes is about failure, right? Like, failure is the best teacher. It's the most expensive teacher. It's not the best teacher. Because it doesn't have to be your failure. Someone else's failure can teach you, and you didn't have to pay for it. The reason people don't want to make mistakes, even though they know it's the best teacher, if that was true, then everyone would aim for mistakes, right? The reason people want to avoid mistakes is because they're costly. There's a consequence to a mistake, right? And in business, you don't want to make a mistake because it's financially costly, right? And the bigger the mistake, the bigger the cost. Coaching doesn't have a cost. It's got a price. Mistakes don't have a price. They've got a cost. And so those are two different things. So the way I look at it is, what's going to cost me more? Making mistakes that I haven't made yet, or hiring a coach that's made these mistakes already and writing a check for speed, right? And writing a check to avoid error. Cool thing is when you hire coaches, especially in different areas, like a basketball coach or a basketball player, like a real professional, they'll have a shooting coach, they'll have a defensive coach, they'll have a personal trainer, they'll have a nutritional coach, right? They've got all different types of coaching for different parts, and they're all specialists. For me, I've got a coach just for operations, a coach just for sales, a coach just for digital, a coach just for video, right? A coach just for mentality. So there's all different things that I want to get better at, and I want specialists in each area. When you have specialists in all areas, you make less mistakes in those areas because they've already made them.
Right.
And does those have a price? Yes, but it's a negative cost. You are making money off of that money you spent, whereas with mistakes, to make yourself feel better, you always want to be optimist. You say, "Oh, but I learned something, dude. You could have learned something somewhere else."
Yeah, right.
You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love having coaches, and also, I am a competitive person. I think most entrepreneurs are competitive people. Most C-level people are also competitive people, and I do better when I have a coach to impress. I work out better when I work out with someone. I work harder when someone's sitting next to me working. Yeah. Right. It's just I don't want to. I like to inspire.
Right.
And that helps.
Yeah. So when we started, I think you were at, I don't know, you probably had like 8 employees at that time. But you have done such a great job of scaling, because I can't remember. I think you were maybe at like 150 to 200 clients back when we started, which was massive to me, because I think I had like 6. But now it's like, I think you've worked with over 1,000 different studios.
And we've got clients in different areas. We've got them in our coaching programs, in our virtual training. We've got them in our agency. Yeah. So what we've done is, I think what we've done really well, my team's helped me with this because they got more intel than I do, is we've decided we're not going to be an ad agency. I think when you aim to be an ad agency, you're just kind of so very replaceable. Yeah. We aim to be the one person in your life that's changed your life. Yeah. That's it. And I've had people say this, several people that have said, "You guys are better friends than my friends." I'm not kidding. That's great. One came from this woman who was diagnosed with cancer, and she it was unfortunate. It was stage 4, and so we found out. Hearts were broken. She's an awesome person. Just left a testimonial video like 3 weeks prior, right? So we got to really know her, and we actually sent her flowers, and we sent her a $150 Postmate gift card. And we sent her a card, and the card said, "Hey, we really hope these flowers put you in a better spirit. We want you to have one less thing on your mind today, so have dinner on us for the next few days. And if there's anything else you need, please let us know. We're here for you." And she ended up calling back crying, saying, "Thank you so much. Everyone else in my friends and family just basically said, our prayers are with you. We'll be thinking of you. And I don't need your prayers and thoughts. I kind of,
need smell."
Yeah. 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 And maybe more people helped her. I don't know, but since then, all I know is, to me, that's what I felt really good doing that. And I felt like $150. I mean, that woman's going through so much right now. Yeah. Last thing she needs to think, she got her studio, she got a business. Now she's got to focus on dinner. Like, let's just at least take that off of her plate. Right? It's not like we have anybody listening going like, how can you do that for every client? Not every client gets cancer. Right. I think we've had 2 cases now in the last 40 years. Yeah. Right. And maybe there's more we don't know about, but so you got to look for those moments. Same thing when people accomplish something. We had somebody that completed a half marathon after setting a goal because they were out of shape, which is why they started their studio, right? They really made a life change. They ran a half marathon, and we sent her green socks that said, "Just keep going." And we put GSD on the bottom, and we wrote a nice card and tied it to it. And she was just like floored. She's like, "It's amazing. Nobody else." They all say congrats in a text, or they say congrats in a comment on Facebook. Yeah. You guys actually sent me a gift that I have now forever to remember that. Yeah.
So when, chiropractors, I think we have a lot of those opportunities in practice to be able to reach out to people and touch their lives. Yeah, exactly. And especially because we, kind of see them, like, they really share a lot with us that they may not share with other service-based businesses. So a lot of chiropractors are probably similar to your clients. So you help fitness studios, not personal trainers, not big box gyms, studios. Something similar to like F45, Orange Theory, and then individually owned ones as well. Yeah. They probably have similar problems to what chiropractors have in that. You started out because you do it. We went to chiropractic school. Some of us open our own practices. We get to a point to where we're busy, we're making good money. Maybe we bring on another associate. But what I wanted to get your thoughts on were just like scaling in particular. Like you've really taken this organization from like something that a lot of other people have probably reached that level or close to it and taken it to a whole nother level. Like you're in the 1% of the 1% of agencies and educational platforms. And so what is it that allowed you to really have this like hyper growth over the last 3 years?
Just focusing on that member.
Yeah.
That's it. Like every member, we've built everything we could to help that member with the problems that they come to us for.
Yeah.
And the problems that they didn't come to us for, but we know that they probably have as well. So, you know, we got now a conference, which is great. How can a chiropractor do it? They can have really great events.
Yeah.
Not just a rinky-dink event where you invite people in, you got some local sponsors. Like actually have something really cool. You know, there's one, a church, and keep in mind the church just did what a chiropractor can do, what a gym could do, what anybody.
Yeah.
A church hosts this thing every month called Movie in the Park. And it's great. They bought this thing for like $400, this inflatable projector. It's huge. It's like the size of the side of a house, right? And then they have a projector, probably spent another $400 on that. And then they put a movie. They have a popcorn machine, and they're just two popcorn machines, I think, now, because it got so big. They're just constantly popping out popcorn, and they're giving out popcorns in bags for free. And then it's just in a big open like field, like a green belt, right?
Yeah.
And I remember I went to the first one because it was in my neighborhood, and it was like 40 people were there. I was like, yeah, it's kind of cool. Then like a week later, it was like 80, 90 people. Now, it's a year later, you can't find a spot. You're talking like 1,000 people at this thing.
Wow.
Right? And you never know what the movie's going to be.
Yeah.
But the point is this church grew.
Like you have to show up to find out what the movie is?
Yeah, which is great, right? Because it's always a kid's movie.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. If you're a kid, think about the parent, right? What movie are they playing? Oh, they're playing the movie In and Out. Oh, we have that movie. That's what the parent's going to say. We have that movie. What do they play? We don't know.
Yeah.
The kids get
That's a good idea.
You know, it's smart. So, but they rented out this park, and all they cared about was being a part of the community and giving the community something to do.
Sure.
And they were there, and the guys introduced himself every time before he starts the movie. Afterwards, he thanks himself as well. I mean, but that church blew up. That church is so big right now. But like, you know, as a chiropractor, same thing. You know, what's the one thing right now that's going on in your life that you wish was better?
Yeah.
I got back pain. That's an easy one. We could fix that, right? I don't feel as flexible. I feel like, you know, I can't even touch my toes. Okay, hey, let's help you out with that. I'm going to go ahead and get you connected with a couple people, whether it's a massage therapist or whether it's a personal trainer that you've got or whether it's some resources you built out. Because as a chiropractor, like, is it better for someone's back if they're flexible?
Yeah.
Right? So create resources on stretches that you could do from home every day.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to get you sent over these. I'm going to get these over to you. And I know it sounds like, oh, but that's so outside of what we do as a business. Yes, that's why you'll succeed, because everyone else is staying in the box. So if you want to stay in the box, then play in the box. If you want to go outside of the box, then go outside of the box. So for us, yeah, we've got the conference, we've got the podcast, we've got books, we've got booklets. We've just started a magazine that's going to be out our first issue, where it's all the trends in fitness.
Nice.
Chiropractic has started a local magazine for how to be the healthiest person in Springfield.
Yeah.
How to have how to have 5-star health in Springfield. And it could always have like top 10 restaurants that you could eat at, you know, in the area, top 10 hiking trails. I mean, just whatever it is, but just being able to create these things.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's not what a chiropractor does, dude. That's the point.
Right. That's what I talk. You know, you and Gary Vee are the two reasons why this podcast exists. Just because Gary's always talking about it, and I had such a good example in what you do, that I finally did it, and it's been great. And so now I'm talking about it a lot more because it's like, yeah, like video, you know, written and audio are the three kinds of content. But until I really saw the impact that it can have, and you know, for me, it's the easiest content to create because we're just sitting here hanging out talking, right? Yeah. But exactly what you just said is what I tell them about creating a podcast. And you're right to however you can help them with whoever your ideal client is, however you can help them in their life or your community, you're going to win if you, whether it's an event, whether it's, you know, a blog, whether it's a podcast, whatever it is you're doing. So I love that.
I mean, as crazy as it sounds, even if a podcast that was just around the healthiest people in Springfield.
Yeah.
Right? And literally looking for people, interviewing people that would be potential partners, referral partners, right? Massage therapists. Hey, you're a massage therapist. I want to interview people for my podcast. I'd like to have you on our podcast. Yeah. But more importantly, who's the healthiest nut that you've got? Like, I interview the healthiest people in Springfield. Who's the healthiest one? The one that gets a massage probably 3 times a week because they want to be optimal. Yeah. You know, this person's like doing cryo and they're doing all this stuff. Who's the healthiest nut that you've got? Oh, we've got this one person. Can I interview him? I love to interview him. Then you go to cryotherapy places, and then you go to acupuncture places, naturopaths. You can go to all the people that would be great referral partners. You get them on your podcast, and you also ask if they can bring on the show together. Not only them, but it'll be them and their craziest one, the one that's all over. And now me listening, it's like having your own little Tim Ferriss show, but for Springfield.
Yeah.
You know, where do you eat? Like, where do you eat in town?
Yeah.
Where do you go? Oh, I go here. What do you order when you go there? So funny enough, if you order this, you actually are getting almost no saturated fat, and they'll just tell you all this. It's crazy.
I love it.
But I listen to that. I personally would listen to that. Like the healthiest people in Scottsdale, I'd be like, all right, let me hear what they're doing.
Right.
Where are they going?
Right. And that's, that we do two kinds of interviews on this podcast. We do practicing chiropractors that are doing it, that you never hear from. They're kind of like the healthiest people in Springfield. And then the experts, the ones that you can learn from, the people that you want to network with, right? And there's no other content like a podcast to be able to do that. I love that. Healthiest person in Springfield. I'm probably going to use that one. Because I've been looking for like the right angle that I think that like my team could execute because I'm not there.
Well, think about what a better way to connect with A, great referral partners, and B, a formal introduction to their greatest client.
I know, it's great. And you just get the nice part about podcasts is that you get the time to connect with somebody.
Real connections, which is why I was able to connect with those goats, right?
Yeah.
It's the same goats, greatest of all time people, right? But why I was able to connect with those people, it's the same thing. Now you're really connecting.
Yeah.
And you're connecting with that person.
Yeah.
And after it's over, say, hey, you know what? If you ever need a chiropractor, let me know. Like, seriously, first few weeks are on me. Like, I just love to spend time with a person with your mindset.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, I'd love to do that. How great is it to have that person for free?
And have 50 of them.
Because who do they hang out with?
Other healthy people.
Just like them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And people like that, the freaks, the health freaks, what's usually their topic of conversation?
Health.
Freakish health shit, right? Like what they eat, what they don't eat, what they do, what they don't do. Dude, I go to this chiropractor. He's freaking awesome. He does this. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
They talk about it. That's what they talk about. They don't talk about politics.
Yeah.
They talk about health.
Yeah.
Right? The new thing, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, now you've got like all the health obsessive people listening in. You got their attention.
Yeah.
You know,
I love it.
Now you create some lead magnets for that while you're on the podcast.
Yeah.
Hey, and if you guys want, actually, I asked Jared, right, the guest, the health nut. I asked Jared because he knows all the hacks of where to eat. I asked him for, can you give me a list of the top 10 places to eat and the top 1 or 2 things to order at each one? He gave me a list. If you guys want access to that, go to jaredsfreakeatlist.com and I'll actually just give it to you for free. It's just right there, right? And so now they go there. Now you got their contact information and you're building your list, which is what you want to do.
Yep. They're going to be pissed when they get that list and it's just Subway.
It's just straight Subway. It's a picture of that weirdo. What's his name?
Jared.
Oh, yeah, Jared. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's my favorite part about making jokes with Mike is like I'm always like a half step ahead of him.
Yeah, you are. I can't catch up to you sometimes.
All right. So you can, I think that you can definitely, like people that are really great at something, they can sell a lot of it, right? But scaling takes not only being able to sell a lot of something, but having the team around it to be able to actually deliver on the service or the product. And that's the other thing that I really admire about you is just the culture that you build in your company. And so I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on why that's so important. Maybe a couple of tips that that chiropractors could use out there on how to create that better culture.
So I think when people get into business, they forget like who they are. They start thinking about what they're supposed to be and they forget who they are.
Yeah.
Deep down, most people are actually good. Deep down. And you know that because if you take 100 people randomly and you were to say, hey man, just so you know, I talked to somebody and they said that the conversation you had with them changed their life, like for the better. They're like a whole better person because of you. They're going to feel good.
Yeah.
Vice versa. I talked to somebody, they said that you like ruined their life. Like that conversation like made them depressed and discouraged. Most people are going to be a little negative, like upset about that, right? And so most people are good. Now what happens is when you get into business, whether you're an employee or whether you're an owner, it doesn't matter. You look at it transactionally. It's all numbers and it's all, just scripts and processes and do what you have to do and move on. In reality, relationships are really, really important to anyone's success. You're here for 40 hours at least, right? And so you should be really working on making a big impact everywhere you go. I remember who said this, but it said that somebody said, which I believe, the number of people you help directly correlates with the amount of money that you earn. And if you figure you helped almost nobody, you're probably not that wealthy. And if you can have 1,000 people say you changed your life, you're probably doing well. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Could you make sense of that?
Yeah.
So that doesn't have to just be your members. That could be everyone. That could be you, right? Somebody that I used to be my coaching client. You're not anymore, right? But like, you want to do this podcast, come do it. You want to come to the office? Absolutely. Like, you probably can even imagine me saying no, right?
Right, yeah.
So it could be anybody like that. It could be members or my employees. So my employees, they've got a challenge going on. How can I help? You know, what can we do? How can we get there? We had a particular employee who, you know, was basically going through some car trouble, and it cost more money to fix the car than what the car was worth. They didn't know what to do. And I was like, you know how talented you are? You don't have to like stress about this. You know, like, what do you mean? I was like, look, let me put something out there, and let me let them know that you can coach them on this thing that you do well. Now see what you get. $500 for like an hour or two. And this person ended up getting 8 coaching clients, and the deal I made was the first 5 you get 100% of. I get 50% of everything after. She made like $4,000 really quick. Yeah. Right? So not only did this person now not have to deal with that car, she ended up selling the car, and she ended up getting a brand new car, and is not stressed about it anymore.
That's great.
Right? But like, that's just me saying, it's the same thing as like that woman saying to her, or that friend saying to the woman that has cancer, hey, our prayers are with you. You can say that as a boss. Hey, you know, good luck. You know, you'll get through it. It happens. Yeah. You can do that, or you could say like, how can I help you? Like, what if I had to solve this problem for you? What would I do? Yeah. And how would I get myself out of it? Because I've had more experience in this person. I've got 10 years of life on this person. Yeah. And the last 10 years were pretty hectic. So I've got a lot of problem-solving experience on her. So I could let her solve this problem. Chances are she's not going to do it as well as I would, because I've got that time and experience. Or I can just be like, what would I do? We figured it out in minutes, got it done. Within a week, it was done. She'd be $4,000 in a week.
Yeah, I saw that post too.
You say, you know what I'm talking about? Done.
Yeah.
So,
and that's probably all you did too, was just post it on your.
That's all I did
on your page.
It doesn't take much to really help most people.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. People overthink it. Oh, it's another problem. Like, how good do I feel? I feel great, and she feels great. Like, we're a better relationship now. And so, to me, my employees are more important than my members. Because if I can take care of my employees and they're happy, I promise you the members are better taken care of than if they were resentful towards me, or if they didn't believe in me or what I do here. So first thing is focus on my team, and I'm going to make sure that they have the absolute best place to work ever, like as much as I can control. And sometimes it's hard. Like, you can't hit it, you know, bat 1,000 with it, because you know, you got 50 people. How are you going to make a perfect place for everyone? Right. So some people are like, oh, I wish it was different. That's okay. But for the most part, at least they know that you care, and they know that you're constantly making new things for them, and you're finding ways to help them out. One account manager says, which is a great thing to say, by the way, this shows they care. Hey, I want to be able to retain my members a little longer. You know, how do I get over when they say they want to pause? What's an overcoming objection? I was like, is this a common problem? They say, yeah. I was like, let's just get all the account managers. I'll do an hour and a half role play with all you guys. Now we're doing setup for next week. And it's just like figuring out what it is. MVP, you have an employee of the month, right? So we call it MVP. Whoever that MVP is, that's the person I'm going to take to dinner or lunch, right? Every MVP gets that. And the reason is because this person is the one that's on fire right now. They're the most motivated. They're the most excited. Who else is better to get insight from right now on what we should start doing, what we should stop doing, and what we should keep doing? Tanner, what should we? That's where I came back from. That was an MVP lunch. That's where I just came back from. Tanner, what should we start doing? Tanner, what should we stop doing? What should we keep doing? I got so much insight from him today. Yeah. We're making some adjustments based on his insight. Yeah. You're not going to get that from an average performer. You're going to get that from the person that's on fire. Right. Here's a cool thing. That person that's on fire just felt really valued, which he was. It wasn't just how he felt. It was. I'm taking that information. I'm using it. Yeah. What better person to get to feel really valued than the person that's already on fire? Yeah. You just added gas to that fire. He's ready to go even more. Yeah. So looking for those opportunities, and also immediately removing the toxic. Yeah. So, and that kind of sucks sometimes, but you got to get rid of them. And the way I explain it to my team is, look, at the end of the day, my goal is to get all of you guys to be successful. You're not going to be here forever, probably, and I understand that, but while you are here, you will be successful. Do I have to sometimes fire people? Yes. Why? Because that person slows the company down. By them slowing the company down, it slows all of your careers down, because we can't promote you as fast if the company's moving slower. Would you guys agree? Raise your hands if you agree. Yes. Okay. So if you want me to keep a person that's slowing us down, let me know. But what you're really saying is, I'm okay with slowing down my growth here at the company to keep that person that doesn't care as much on board.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that. So I'm gonna speed you guys up and get that guy out.
Yeah. You're always so good at like explaining it. Instead of like I'm bad about just like doing it, and I'll give some like cursory explanation to it, but you always do it to where you really make sure that they get it before you move on.
It's the truth, right?
It is, but not everybody does that. Not everybody makes it to where
they just kind of say he's fired. He wasn't performing.
Yeah, like that's just the way it is, right?
And then everyone gets scared,
right?
Because they think who's next,
right?
But they're not as scared if they know that they're performing.
Yeah.
If they know why he left, and numbers are posted on the board, they're usually either A, not surprised, or B, understanding.
Yeah.
But if you don't give an explanation, they start creating their own stories. Right?
And especially if like they're like friends outside of work, or they go to lunch with that person.
They're going to hear that person's version.
Right.
What's that guy's version?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. I think you do such a good job, like with just leadership in general. What are some good resources that have allowed you to get to where you're at on the leadership front?
Relentless by Tim Grover. He's a personal trainer for Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade, Charles Barkley. Just the mentality of champions. I mean, it's pretty cool. Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek. Multipliers. Actually have all the people that get promoted into leadership positions. I think I have like 7 or 8 leaders here at the company. They all have to read Multipliers before moving into that role. So it's a great book on that as well. Drive by Daniel Pink is another really good one. But here's the thing, like you could read 100 books. Any one of those, if you just treat it like a textbook versus a storybook, you'll be able to be successful with just any one of those books. You don't have to. I would say Relentless is more for you, but the other ones, like you could just be successful. But the problem is people read through a book and then they go on to their next book. I used to do the same thing. And what happens is you don't practice what you just learned. So you're just learning and you're not practicing. It's the same thing as learning how to play the song on the piano and then never touching it again. I promise you in 2 weeks you forget how to play that song. I know because I'm in it now. Right? And so the difference is playing that song over and over until you get to the point where you know how to play that song while talking. Like you can sit down and your hands just do it.
Yeah.
And now that it's automated, now it's a part of you. And so for me, the first song I learned on piano was Bohemian Rhapsody, like first real song, Bohemian Rhapsody. I can go 3 months without playing that song and I can sit down and play it perfectly. However, I learned, what's this one song I learned? Moonlight Sonata. I learned that song, but then I had to go on an out of town trip for Vegas for like 4 or 5 days. I did have that song down, but only for 2 days. And then I left for 4 or 5 days. I came back. I couldn't even remember where to start. It's not natural for me. It's the same thing with anything you learn. So, hey, okay, cool. I have to have these type of conversations with people. Okay, cool. So when I want to address a tough conversation, I should start like this. Well, that's great. You know it now. 4 things later, now you don't practice it. You never get to practice it. Now here you go. You handle it the way you've always handled it.
Yeah.
So I think that's an important thing is you don't need 40 books. You just need like one textbook. I'm going to study this book. Same thing with sales. You don't need 40 sales books. I need this one style, and I'm just going to master that style. Yeah. For me, it was Sandler.
Yeah.
Right? And so I've been reading less now, but I will read that book more. If you look at most of my recent books, everything's highlighted. Like I got highlighted, I got notes, I add things to my Asana, to meeting agendas. So that book is like wasted by the time it's done. Everything's done. It's wasted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I love that. Yeah, there's there's a lot of coaching groups in chiropractic, and sometimes people like bounce around from one to the other, or maybe they'll be in multiple. But I find that the ones that really go deep with something are the ones that end up getting the most out of it, and usually end up being the most successful, even if it's not quote unquote the best one. Yeah. By somebody else's definition. You decided it was the best for you, you went all in, and you got it done.
Right. It like Bruce Lee says, it's better to learn 10,000 kicks or to practice one kick 10,000 times.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
So we're getting close to you having to leave.
You're good. I got 15, go.
Okay. All right. Well, I got to remember to close with this because I think it'll be a good answer. The last kind of like thing that I think that you're really, really good at is content creation. So that was what really attracted to me to you in the beginning, because my agency is a content marketing agency. Yours is more of a lead generation agency. But when I saw the brand that you were building for yourself and like the content that you were creating, when we first started coaching together, and it's only gotten, I mean, look at this place. I mean, it's just amazing. Like the way that things, the details, the way that they look. And what is like? Give me kind of your thought process on content. You know, how do you like ideate on it? How do you come up with strategy for it?
First is the mindset of it, where for us it's you got to be known. You know, if you think marketing is expensive, you should see what obscurity costs you. Right. That's a Grant Cardone quote. I love it. Yeah. And it's true. Obscurity, the opposite is omnipresence, right? Which is everywhere all the time. Obscurity is no one knows who you are. Right. And there's nothing more expensive than obscurity. It's crushing your business. Right?
95% of chiropractors are just completely obscure.
Yeah, no one knows who they are. They're one in a dozen. Yep. They probably have a name that sounds just like every other chiropractor, and they probably have an office that looks like every other chiropractor, because they work so hard to look like everyone else. And somehow they think that the differentiator is going to be their customer service. The differentiator, maybe what makes them stay, is your customer service. But what gets them to you has got to be something else. Right. So I want to help and serve people before they even ever come into our company. Yeah. And so here's the way it was maybe 3 years ago. 3 years ago, if we got 10 leads in, this is from my sales team. We just had a sales meeting a couple months ago, and I asked this question. About 3 years ago, if we got 10 leads in, nobody, or maybe one, knew already who we were. Everybody else found us somehow or whatever, and they just wanted to know what we charge. Right. Fast forward to today, if we get 10 leads in, which, by the way, we get more leads than we used to, almost all of them already know who we are. Almost all of them. So now, think about this. You're a chiropractor, and you're in Whole Foods, and you're just walking in Whole Foods, and somebody comes up to you and goes, hey, I literally watched like 5 of your episodes the other day, or I've watched 5 of your videos. Like, seriously, I've done like those 3 exercises. My back already feels better. Really, what would you have going on with your back? I don't know what I did. I tweaked it playing basketball, but like it was really bad. I did a YouTube search and I found your video, and seriously, like I got stuck. I watched like 4 or 5. That's the kind of stuff I hear. Yeah. Right? Oh man, that's awesome. It's awesome to hear. Yeah. Did we ever help you? Have you ever gone to our chiropractic office? A lot of people, what you'll hear them say is, oh, I didn't even know you were a chiropractor. Or I didn't know you had an office here. That happens sometimes too. People don't know I have an ad agency. Yeah. They just see me helping people. They just assume I'm some sort of a coach or consultant or expert or something like that. Yeah, we have one, man. I could have fixed it up for you a lot faster. Is it all the way gone? Yeah, it's pretty good. It's almost, let me get it all the way gone for you, and do some things so you'll never have it come back. Really? Yeah, come in. First session's on me, you know, thanks for watching my stuff. And then after that, like if you want to continue, we'll show you what that looks like. Yeah, that'd be amazing. That person's not going to say no to you. Not even close. Right. And you know how much easier it is for a chiropractor than for me? Because for me, I've got to target the world. I work with people in U.S. and Canada and Australia and Hong Kong and New Zealand, right? Wherever they speak English, or in Hong Kong, there's spots where they do. So it's hard to be omnipresent when you're going after such big regions. And you're going after, no one goes to fitness studio school. Right. So it's tough to find them that way too. But if I just have to own a 5-mile radius, which with Facebook ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads, Google ads, I can totally make it so my ads never hit past 5 miles. Yeah. And if I could target people and they're all between, let's say, what's the average where back issues are really prominent, like 28 and up, 28 to 60, 25 to 65 is 25 to 65. Yeah. I could target those people, and let's say I have brackets where 25 to 45, I have, different content. 45 to 65, I have different content, right? Because older, younger, right? One's talking about how, if you're young, last thing you want to do is deal with a back problem. The other one is when you're old, hey, they just get worse from here, right? So whatever it is. But now I just take that and I advertise that. I can literally spend all my money and not have to worry about any of my money going outside of 5 miles. It's all going there. For every click that you get, you probably had, if you have a 1% click through, you had 100 people look at it. Yeah. Right? 100 people. That click costs you $2, $3, just a click, maybe even less. Let's say $2. You could look at it as, I paid $2 per click or $12 per lead, or you can look at it as, I paid it's about 5 cents per view, or I think it's maybe even less than that, whatever it is.
I'm sure
it's crazy to have somebody view your stuff.
Yeah. And to just stay in front of them. Just they see your face, they see your logo. Yeah.
Right, that's it. You know, back when our parents were running businesses, they didn't pay for leads. They paid for impressions.
Yeah.
TV spots, billboards, sponsoring little leagues, getting, I know my dad
flyers
had
on the card.
Flyers on cars, flyers inside of other pizzerias, all that stuff. Today, my dad's head would explode if he saw what's possible and people not using it.
Right.
He would be insane. Do you know how many cars I flyered? I had to spend all day and I flyered 500 cars. You're telling me you could push a button and be in front of 500 people in the next few minutes? Yeah.
Yeah.
His head would explode for people not using all of it.
Right.
He would be bananas.
Yeah.
Right? But people don't realize what they've got because they were born into it. They just got it now. The truth is, you don't have to spend more than a couple $1,000s a month to be able to literally, inside of 3 to 4 months, have almost everyone in your community know you and your brand.
Yep.
What happens is over time, this is where most people don't give enough time. We're impatient, right? We've got instant messaging. We have everything just happens so quickly now, right? Postmates, you get food to your door in 40 minutes. In a year from now, if you keep that up, you versus the other chiropractor that didn't do it, or you versus your alternate universe, right, where you didn't do it, you destroy the other guy.
Yeah.
Even if you broke even on ad spend. A lot of people, they go, oh man, I broke even. Here's what they say. They say, I broke even. Why did I even do it? I didn't make any money. It was a waste.
Yeah.
You could also look at it as, you're telling me I got free advertising the entire month?
Yeah.
You mean I got in front of tens of thousands of people in my community for free? Because there's scarcity and there's abundance, right? And most people are scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
Now, I'll prove it to you, because if you tell an employee, hey, I'll give you $1,000 bonus if you do this, that's one reaction. But if I say, hey, I'll take $1,000 out of your paycheck if you don't, trust me, that's a very different reaction.
Right.
One of them's like, cool, we'll see if it can happen. The other one's like, I'm ready to go look at other jobs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, and the same thing goes. If you break even, or even take a little negative loss, say you lost $400, you go, oh man, I didn't get anything out of that, and you get all pissed off. The abundance mindset person goes, I paid $400 to get in front of tens of thousands of people. It's incredible. So now if I pitched it the other way, and I go, hey, give me $400 and I'll get you in front of literally 25,000 people in your area. Some of them may even fill out the form and become a lead. But literally for $400, I'll get you in front of 25,000 people. It might be a different reaction.
Right.
So people just have to know how they're looking at things. Real marketers care about leads last, because they know leads are inevitable. For me, they're inevitable now. I could stop marketing right now, and I couldn't stop leads from coming in if I wanted to.
Right.
4 years ago, if I didn't market, I wouldn't get a lead. Right? So,
and that's the difference between marketing and brand.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing. So yes, in the way that society calls it today, 100%. I think that it's more advertising and branding. So marketing, to me, what's the difference between marketing and branding, or marketing and advertising? It's the same thing as saying what's the difference between Honda and a Civic. There's no difference between a Honda and a Civic. Civic is a part of Honda. Right. Marketing is creating the marketability of your product. That goes all the way from who are we? Yeah. What's our buyer persona, our customer avatar, right? Who's our perfect customer? What's the message that we're sending out to the world? What are we going to be known for? What's our unique value proposition? All these things, right? And then what are we going to charge? How are we going to present that price? What's our offer going to be? How are we going to get out there? All that stuff, that's all marketing, right? Okay, this is who we are. Now, branding goes, how are we going to create stories around all this so people know that that's our message, so people know that's who we are? That's what makes us different. Advertising is, how do we take all of that and put it out to the world? Yeah. How do we just take a megaphone and take what we decided in marketing is the truth and get it out to the world so they know it? So marketing encompasses branding and advertising and PR. Yeah. But yeah, branding is, the cool thing is when you advertise, you're naturally getting some branding involved as well. Yeah. You can't say I got advertising without branding. Right. They're going to see your face. You're going to see your brand.
I guess I should have said that's the difference between marketing and advertising with no brand versus brand.
100%, yeah.
Because now you're in a very different position than you were.
Like I said, I couldn't turn it off if I wanted to. Right. And a chiropractor do the same thing, right? A chiropractor, if they really focused on just spending money to get their message out and their offers out to the entire community for a full year, and let's say they said, I don't care if I make any money. I don't care if I break even all year on my advertising, or even if I lose a few $100s a month. If I don't care, at the end of that year, they're going to have so many more people know them. And I know this from experience, personally, and from my book of business. We've got thousands of people we've helped now. In a year from now, they're going to have more organic leads come in than they've ever had. People just saying, hey, I found you on Facebook, or I found you on Google, or I found you here, whatever. Or walk-ins. They're going to have so much more that they wouldn't be able to turn it off 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now. And then what happens is when you do run an offer ad, when you're unknown, you're a company running an offer. When people know who you are, hey, that company is running an offer. Right? It's different when Joe Schmo's Steakhouse is offering a special versus Ruth Chris is offering a special. Hey, babe, Ruth Chris has a special right now. That's very different, right? It's different when this random company has a special versus Apple has a special today. People will flock.
Right.
It's the same thing. Joe Schmo Chiropractor has a special or an offer versus, dude, Nick's Chiropractic office. That Nick place is running a special. That's different. So you've got to decide, I'm not going to be a company. I'm going to be that company. Right? And that's the difference. And that's what getting in front of as many people as you can and just going, man, what if I got free advertising for a year, which equals breaking even?
Right.
Cool thing is you probably won't. You'll probably make money along the way.
And I tell people that come on as clients, I say, for the next 12, we do lead generation and content marketing. The lead generation will take care of itself. That'll bring leads in, and that'll turn into patients. But on the content side, just assume that no one's going to care. No one's going to call you about it. No one's going to talk to you about it. No one's going to recognize you in the grocery store. And at the end of 12 months, look up, and I can promise you none of that 100%. Will be true. But they're just so, like, just people in general are just so impatient because chiropractors are they're like fitness studios. They're dealing with a small marketing budget, and it's scarcity mindset. They're scared to take a chance because they're scared about being wrong.
They're scared of loss.
Yeah, exactly.
But here's the difference between a champion mindset and everybody else. So LeBron James, he knows he's going to have injuries, right? He knows he's going to have problems with the team, at home. He knows there's going to be obstacles along the way. But he's not thinking about the injuries. He plays hard regardless. He's not thinking about the injuries. All he thinks about is hoisting the trophy up over his head. And that's where he's tunnel visioned into. A non-champion is playing different. That's why when a lot of people get injuries, they play different when they come back. They're in their heads. They think they're going to get it again. Like Derrick Rose, right? Like he wasn't the same. Now he's kind of, mentality's a little shifted. And I think the same thing with a business owner. They're so afraid of what can go wrong that creates a lack of tunnel vision for how to get to the goal as quickly as possible. How do I get to a 7-figure chiropractic agency or fitness studio or whatever small business you want to be? Or how do I get to capacity where I have to open up another location? How do I get there? If that's the question you're asking versus how do I not lose money this month? How do I not make a mistake? Right? If the question is how do I get here as fast as possible, I promise you your answers are going to be different. It's the same. Tony Robbins says this too. Why is this happening to me? What he says is, change your question, change your life. That's his phrase. Change your question, change your life. It could be, why is this happening to me? How come things never work out for me? How come I'm always the one that gets this? Or you can say, what do I have to do to turn my whole life around right now? What's one thing I could do right now to turn my life around? That's a very different question. And that's a champion mindset versus everyone else. And so business owners you're dealing with or anybody listening right now, ask yourself, when's the last time you said, how do I get to my goal as quickly as possible, regardless of the cost? How do I get there? And then what activity did you take activity on that? Or did you now start looking at all the pain points that go along with it, and then you reserved yourself and you thought about it, and then it became nothing because you were afraid of what you could lose along the way? And so I lose a lot, but those are injuries. Those aren't career-ending. I don't have any career-ending injuries, and if I do, I feel like I come back because I'm not a physical athlete. I got a mental thing, right? So we're lucky that we're not physical athletes. But injuries are going to happen, but you've got to say, like, how do I get to the championship? What people do I need on my team? How do I have to work out? How do I have to train? Training, it's a big thing, right? I don't care what you do, chiropractor, fitness studio. Do you know how to sell? Most people think they know how to sell. Most people actually have no idea how to sell. I don't know how to adjust your back. I could probably make a crack somehow because I know where to push to make some cracks happen.
Yeah.
Chances are whatever I do isn't making a real impact, right?
Right.
Okay. So just because I can feel some cracks does not mean I am a chiropractor. I know how to adjust. Mm-hmm. But one can easily think that. Just because you got some people to say yeah doesn't mean you know how to sell.
Right.
Real salespeople. I had a sales coach, and this is actually one of my favorite stories to tell salespeople. But there was this one sales guy on my team. He was not doing well. He was on pace to maybe make $28,000 for the year in commissions. That's how bad he was doing, right? Mm-hmm. But he was very into his head that he knows how to sell because somebody told him he's a good salesman, like his mom or aunt or somebody. I have no idea, but he was convinced he was good at sales. So my sales coach sits down with him, and he goes like this. He takes his sunglasses, takes them off, and he goes, here's a 1, and here's a 10. A 1 is you know you're the worst salesperson on the planet. 10 is you're the best salesperson on the planet. And then you got 2 through 9 in the middle. Take these sunglasses and put them anywhere on the line where you think you are. And he goes here. Put it at a 7. Typical answer, right? Safe answer. You're not too cocky, but you're not too, too disappointing.
Yeah.
You think you're a 7? He goes, yeah. And he took his glasses and he flung them across the room, hit the wall like 30 feet away. I think he broke his own glasses.
Sure.
And he goes, you're not even close. He goes, let me tell you what real salespeople do. A 5 is making about $30,000 a year. A 6 is making 60 to 70. A 7 is making close to 90K. An 8 is making over 100. A 9 is making 250. A 10, 7 figures or less makes them they need at least 7 figures.
Yeah.
How much are you on pace to make? He's like 2,800 per month. He's like, dude, you're a 4 at best. At best. But your problem is you think you're a 7. And because you think you're a 7, you're not doing the activity that you need to get you to where you need to be. Because you're settling for good, and there's no point in going to great.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing goes for a lot of business owners. They think that they're better than they are because they may be the most business savvy person in their family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And their family aren't business owners.
Right.
And so they know what they're talking about when they watch Shark Tank, and their friends and family don't. So they explain they feel smart.
Right.
But you get them in a room with a real player, and they stay quiet, or they sound like an idiot.
Yeah.
And so leveling up your game in sales and marketing especially, a lot of the best CEOs in the world. Elon Musk, would you say he's a great marketer?
Yeah.
Think about what he does, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Flew a rocket ship right over the country in order to make people see it.
Yeah.
Right? Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, good marketers.
Yeah.
Richard Branson. A lot of people think they don't have to learn it because I'll just hire a company to do it. Dude, that's ridiculous.
Right.
You've got to know it, so you know you've got to be the idea. And then the marketing, all it does is take that and then blast it out.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I want to end on this, and we were talking about champion mindset. So as somebody who really values having a champion mindset, loves basketball, girl dad, what did Kobe mean to you? What did his passing mean to you?
That was a tough day.
Yeah.
Like, and it was even tougher because his daughter's name was Gianna, and he coaches her in basketball. My daughter's name is Gianna, and I coach her in basketball. And so, that was just that was it's still like today it hits me, because he was actually really working hard on being good in every area of his life, and that inspired me to do the same thing. I exercise. I have a great relationship with my wife, with my kids. I like to mentor people even that don't pay me. I just believe in what he believed in, and he's inspired me to believe that. So yeah, when that happened, and also it made me feel very vulnerable. Like I immediately felt like my family could lose me, which is crazy. So it changed a couple things that I did. Like since then, I definitely prepared my kids a little bit more. Like I let them watch the news and see what happened with Kobe.
Yeah.
And I explained to them, like, hey, life is fragile. That's why you need to make sure you take care of everyone, everything. I've looked at my wife a little differently. I valued minutes more. So, like now I don't. The only TV I watch is with my wife as our family time, where we'll watch like an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm once a week, and we'll watch an episode of Seinfeld. Usually go to bed because we both enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't watch TV on my own anymore. I'm reading more because I know that the faster I learn, the more I can get done in the time that I do have. Eating healthier, working out more because I know I can live longer if I do that.
Yeah.
And also I'm having better conversations. With my sister, with my brother, cousins. I've reached out to a lot more people and just kind of checked in on them. So, yeah, you're not here for there's no contract. You don't have there's nobody saying that you will at least be here until 70.
Right.
Your contract could be ripped up tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so even if you work hard and you don't get the result that you wanted, that, like, Kobe had so much more to do still, but I can't imagine how many people he's probably inspired to do better work than they were doing. I know I was one of them.
Yeah.
So that at least still impacted the world in a cool way.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a rough loss.
Well, man, I'll tell you what, not to end it on a sad note, but you've inspired me so much. You know, I can track back point A to point B directly. Like, I'm here at this point because of the help that you've given me, and I really appreciate everything you've done for me, everything that you do for the world and for your family and for your business, and it's been awesome getting to know you and getting to hang out today.
I appreciate you saying that. Thank you.
All right,
it's
buddy.
Good hearing it.
All right, man.
All right, thank you.
We'll see you on the next one.